brother Francis E. Revels-Bey. I'm your host. It is now 4:31 p.m. Mountain Standard Times. I figured I waited one more minute, put it in that infinity 8 vibration. Before we get started with today's program, that will center somewhat around meditation, meditation techniques, working with our chakras, meditation techniques to also work with our environment that we are in, whether it's a living environment or a working environment. Maybe you are sharing space with someone. Perhaps your office is sharing space with another office within the same locality. So we're going to use some basic meditation techniques and really speak about breath. Before we get started, I'm going to open up this show with a basic affirmative prayer and decree, and I may also teach from an essay that was written some time ago by myself, basically channeled, and it was called "We Are Beyond the Beyond," and it does involve a decree in there that will assist you. It was written last year on September the 22nd, 2015. So it's appropriate to use right now. Through divine power and by divine grace, may all of you who gain that opportunity to watch today's program live right now or come back and watch it in the archives, may you be blessed by what you hear, what you receive. May you know that all shall be well with you. May you realize that whatever you are doing right now in this very moment is the proper quote unquote thing for you to do. It is also in alignment with your higher self, with your which is your soul aspect or your divine self. And so it is an awareness on your part, and it is also this opportunity for you to graduate along the way with whatever is necessary for you to do to increase or expand your own consciousness. And one of the things in this is that we are stepping into a new self, a newer self. So again, may what you hear here, may it bless you in more ways than one. And so shall it be, and so it is. And you are becoming greater than what you can imagine. You are becoming a formidable spiritual warrior, a formidable spiritual healer. And therefore, your energy field is increasing. Your life is expanding. Your consciousness is expanding. And so, everything that you find yourself involved in that no longer serves you will begin to break away from you. If you are not breaking away from it deliberately, your higher self and all of the degrees of newness that is on the inside of you shall begin to break through, seep through, leak through, and definitely create changes. So we have to be aware of the world that we continue to create up to this moment in each moment. And what we're going to find out is that for a long time it has been an illusion because we are the ones creating it, but there are other variables. There are other numerous variables involved, which is other people's conscious awareness or unconsciousness, what other people remember or do not remember, what other people choose to do, within your environment. It's like having a conversation with other people. And while you're having that conversation with other people, you are unable to connect because what you see yourself going through is that there's this shift, this constant shift that's happening. So when you see yourself having this constant shift, you notice that changes do occur. And at times, you don't appear to have any control over those changes. You just know that it's happening. So, what you want to be able to do is you want to be able to grow in your awareness and realize that your whole environment shifts. What you see on the outside is actually happening on the inside of you. And all that is happening on the inside of you is allowing yourself to have a greater play in your life. Also, what you shall find is that the more shifts that you experience, some of those shifts are going to be turbulent, some will be less turbulent. And what I mean by less turbulent is that the more you are aware of your environment and the people in it, the more you're aware of how conscious people are within their own realms of understanding, because as we know, everybody doesn't have to be on the same page. What is the phrase that people have used for years? Is all right to agree that we disagree. This way, people can express their ideas without getting emotional about it or without feeling offended by what someone else is saying. Just having good, healthy discussion. So, this is where we are right now, is evolving in very subtle ways, layer by layer, like an onion being peeled. You know, as you peel an onion, you take that papery side off, as I would call it, the very light skin, and then you start getting to the meat of the onion. And as you begin to peel layer by layer, it creates an energy field that you begin to cry. Sometimes life can be like that. Well, we can either cry tears of anguish, pain, suffering, sorrow, depression, anger, indecisiveness, or we can cry tears of absolute joy because we find ourselves arriving at a place in our lives where we feel more comfort, we feel more guarded or protected, if we want to use that word, or shielded. You know that you are being nurtured and that you could turn around and nurture someone else. You can help someone else see whatever it is that they need to see and experience. And you can see that person prosper abundantly in their own way. You can see them have success in their own way. Whatever success means to them, that's what they're going to be able to not only have manifest in their mind, because man means the thought of a mind, thought, product of the mind, of thinking. And so that's what a manifestation is basically. And now we shift into the divine feminine, is we want it to materialize. We want it to come down through the body and show up on the earthly plane around us, or show up within our consciousness, then within our auric field, and then into our other surroundings. So we are seeing here that we have this opportunity. So today I want to use meditation to help us have a sense of authenticity, to be real to ourselves, to be original to ourselves, to allow ourselves to have greater self worth. And as we do that, we will realize that divine grace will just begin to flow through our life. It's always there. We're just uh, blocking it out with our ego, or we could be experiencing a setback where we're wondering why everything seems to be falling apart or everything is moving too slow, or what is it that I'm doing wrong for it to move slowly, or to be blocked, or to just fall apart without any manipulation or control on my part. Well, we don't have to go through any sense of feeling like we are a victim in our own lives. We could free our mind mentally just by knowing that if we implement greater self love in our own lives, then we shall empower ourselves. And really, the power is infinite, and we will be like this empty glass. So we have to empty ourselves in order to put something in order to get something new into the body that is clearly new. You must empty yourself of old things. Think of it like a glass of water. Can you imagine having, let's say, a glass of water, a half a glass, let's say? Give yourself a half a glass, or a third of a glass of water, a quarter of a glass of water. And let's say you've drank all that water, all the way down to that much left in a glass. And you choose to let that glass of water, three quarters empty, to remain without a cover, without a lid, to remain in the open without any shelter around it, without something protecting the contents of the water itself, or just the water, period. Have you ever placed water in a water bottle that was like aluminum, metal, or whatever, and left the cap on for long periods of time, like from several hours, which you probably wouldn't notice a difference, but to something like a day, 24 hours later, and then uncap it and smell the water? Do you notice there's a change from the scent of the water? If you know that, then you know that that water you shouldn't be drinking. If it doesn't taste fresh as when you placed it in there, then you should not be drinking the water because it has gone through a change. And therefore, if you wait any longer, it may start to have a souring taste to it. And if you were to drink it, then that would imbalance and upset your system in so many different ways. So now you could help maintain what's in that water by refrigerating it, maybe taking it out of that container and putting it into something else. Nonetheless, you are trying to what? Keep those molecules and atoms of that water at the same consistency where they can't change. That is almost the same thing when people are talking about, well, they want to freeze the body, freeze themselves from their brain cells right down to all the trillions of cells in their body. And then they want to, like, melt it, defrost themselves and bring themselves back, because they're trying to trigger longevity with themselves. They're trying to trigger freshness with themselves. And there's I don't know if I should call it a fad right now, and I'm not going to, but many celebrities are doing this. And what they're doing is they're stepping into these chambers where the chambers are very, very cold. Not warm, but where it's cold. Is For instance, like I used to, for a while when I first came out here to New Mexico, my spiritual family took me to a city, and I'm gonna call it a town because it's so far out that all you see is a large mesa on top of a mountain off in the distance, and the place is pronounced too hot chili. That's mispronounced, but it's too hot chili or too hot chili, and this is a place where there is a bed and breakfast out there, that this woman, I'll just use her first name, is Ava, and she's a woman who has a bed and breakfast out there, and it's called the Apache Bed and Breakfast because out that way is a lot of Apache, and she works with the Apache uh, Native Nation out there, giving them business advice and so forth. And so she has this bed and breakfast out there, and throughout, it's really her home. She lives on the premises, and there's just plenty of acreage around. The next neighbor is probably about 2 acres away, 2 to 3 acres away. You can see the neighbor's house. But what is very interesting about where she is, she has what they call a red sauna in her house, and it's located in the exercise room, and it's made out of cedar, and it has these infrared coils running through out the cedar, and it's the cedar planks are not touching it, but they leave enough of a gap so heat can be created, can generate it. And what it is, it's a dry heat. This infrared sauna, as it's called, is a dry heat. Now, the interesting factor is that you sit in this chamber for 30 minutes. And in the course, you can be listening to music, meditation, some radio station, jazz, whatever you want, or meditation music, pop music. You get in there with a bottle of water to dehydrate yourself, be sipping on water. You sit in there with a t shirt and shorts or your bathing suit outfit. And you can sit in there with sandals on. But the unique thing is that you're sitting in this unit, and there's at least four. Some hold four people, some hold six at a time, and you could sit in this. Uh, you could actually sit on a towel, or you could sit on the cedar wood itself. You can bring a pillow in there; it doesn't ignite. But while you're in there, you're watching the temperature go from 98 degrees, or a little under 98 degrees, all the way up to 150 degrees Fahrenheit. And while you're drinking the water, you're allowing your body to sweat in this red sauna. Now, the exact opposite of that is where people are going into these chambers, and I'm going to call it an ice chamber. I don't think that's the proper name, but I'm going to call it an ice chamber. A lot of celebrities are using this. Um, and they go into this chamber, and it's the exact opposite. So they're bringing the body down to, or this sauna, ice sauna, as I'm going to call it, right down to 33 degrees Fahrenheit or less. And what this is designed to do, it actually takes which more people have discovered that it's working on their brain cells. It's working on the rest of the cells in their body so that when they come out, they feel totally refreshed, because then the body has to step and begin to get warmer. So, of course, they're going to have towels or blankets that they're going to place on themselves when they come out so that there's no shock on their body, further shock on their body, but is allowing them to feel like the brain cells have been shifted because they've been iced out, so to speak. So there are these different things that people are doing, and yet the most ancient practice is meditation. The most ancient practice is meditation. And meditation can take you many pathways to your divine self. You can just use meditation to relax yourself physically. You can use meditation to clear your mind of old thought patterns, clear your emotional body of old feelings, things that you used to react to, you no longer react to them. These are the things that you can experience when you meditate. Meditation, though, is, some mystics and sages have said, and many people that I've studied with, and these are not well known people, this is people who just study meditation. And over the 40 some odd years that I've been involved with meditation, about 42 years or so, just as long as I've been on this spiritual path for myself, finding out that even when you are utilizing prayer, affirmative prayer, and decrees, the pauses, the spaces between your words, be it one word, three words, two words, half a sentence, whole sentences, affirmation, affirmative prayer sentences, statements, clauses, claims, proclamations, decrees, there is a gap that takes place. And this is the gap where no sound is being made. That gap is a place of meditation. So let's say I slow down my wording, which I'm speaking at a slower pace right now. And if you were to say, I am well, if you were to feel your words on the intake, in other words, when we are speaking words, we are, for the most part, exhaling the words out. When you are thinking of a word to say, you are in essence inhaling to gather your thoughts and your feelings and your sensitivities together before you verbally express them. So, therefore, the intake of your breath is the awareness and the remembrance that you are moving into the place of stillness. And in that place of stillness, which people refer to as the still small voice, the still, I mean not in motion, small voice. So that tells you that the small voice that you hear on the inside is not verbalizing, it's actually from the inside, it's on the receiving end with you. And it's bringing you information. It's opening up itself on the inside and expanding its awareness. So this is why we kind of call it the still small voice, but it's not really a voice, it's a stillness that uses telepathy and brings that out for you to feel and see and hear, sense and touch, taste and smell on the inside of you, that experience. So if you were to say, even to yourself, I, and you're inhaling, am, you're exhaling, and then you're inhaling, and then you say, well, which is you're exhaling. Those 3 points where you are inhaling, and actually it's 5 or 4, because before you even speak or gather the words together, you have inhaled, saw the phrase that you wanted to use, and then you say I, and you inhale your meditation, am, you're exhaling, and you inhale, and that's your meditation. Well, then you inhale. And inhaling on the word, on each word, is essence your meditation. Why? Because you're on the receiving end. Meditation is really being seated to receive, to embrace, to reflect on energy. In the state of meditation, there is no sending out, no issuing, like we say in Tai Chi Chuan, there's no jing, there's no issuing of power, of energy. You're receiving. You stay in the mode of receiving. And through your receiving, you unite. You're able to embrace. You make that slight contact to deflect something or to push something away, press something away, or push something or redirect something. All of that, though, is in that still moment, still point in the center, the focalized center point within your being where there's absolute stillness. And even at that point, the breath that you have does not feel as though it is in motion. The breath that you have is still. It is so still that you cannot detect any motion going on the inside. This is why some of the older practices for over 30, 40, 50, 60 years and even longer, when people were in the Zen hall meditations or Buddhist monasteries or Zen monasteries using meditation, they would focus on the incoming of the breath. We are always focused on the outgoing because when we're speaking to someone else, we are expressing. X means out. You're pressing out words and air. So when you want to impress somebody, your I am spirit wants to press somebody, then you're waiting for them to receive it, to take it in. That's why it's an impression, because it's going to happen on the inside where the pressing, where the movement takes place. So think about that for a moment. There is a distinct difference between expression and impression. I didn't say impression, impression. Because we know the word to have an impression means you're feeling pressure or movement on the inside of you. Totally on the inside, not just in your auric field, but past there, past the surface of your skin, on the inside of you. People say, wow, well, I'm impressed. It got your attention. So when you are meditating, you are allowing yourself to receive, to accept, and to embrace. Receive, accept, embrace. RAM. You're allowing RAM. In your computer's random access memory. But to you, it's receive, accept, and embrace. Or accept what you receive, then you're embracing, which then becomes E. I should put it that way. Or M, I. So it's a little different. It's RAI the other way. RAI. Receive, accept, embrace. Embrace so that you are what? Impressed. So we have this moment. This is a very short program. We're coming up on 4:59, and in 2 more minutes we will have been here an hour. And then I have another 15 minutes left before or 45 minutes or so before I exit. And I'm going to end this show at about 5:45 p.m., which is 6:45 p.m. Uh, Central Time or 7:45 p.m. Eastern Time. And if you're dealing with the Pacific Time coast, then this show kicked off for you at 3 3:01 p.m. or so, or 3:30 p.m. And now you're going to have it go off the air for you at 4:45 p.m. So what we're going to do is we're going to step into a meditation mode. And as I said earlier, we want to be aware of our environment. And your environment is your personal space. Wherever you could stretch your arm out, that is your personal space. So you want to sit so that you're comfortable. Know that your spine has a natural curve to it. So you don't have to straighten out the tailbone. You have to kick the shoulders back. Just keep them gently down. If you have armrests on your chair, then you just leave yourself on your chair. That will be good enough. If you just have a table, or you want to rest your hands palm up, you can do that as well, or palm down, whichever is comfortable for you. The most important thing is just to be relaxed. So I want you to inhale through the nose, and what you're going to do is you're not going to pull up through your chest. You want to breathe as a baby would breathe, or as we call yogic breathing. And so that you can experience that, place the palm of your right hand, if you want, or your left hand, right over your belly button, and place your other hand in the center of your chest. Now, shallow breathing is using just your lungs, which means you would have to raise up your chest or push your chest to make it full, right? And that creates some restriction within the lungs because you don't get enough air into the top of the lungs. Just exhale from that point. To prove that you don't really get enough air into the upper part of your lungs, that's where you really need to get a full amount of air. So what you can do is, again, inhale and just raise your chest, let it expand. Hold the breath, draw your shoulders up a little bit, which takes stress off your lungs, and then inhale again. You ought to notice that there's a little cool blast of air that got right down into the top of your lungs, and just exhale. So that's proof right there that we don't use all of our lungs to mean we don't allow more air to get all the way into the bronchial tubes in the way that they should. Or you wouldn't feel that. If you did, you wouldn't have that blast of cool air come up when you raise your shoulders and then inhale upon it. See? So what we want to do is we want the abdominal area, meaning where the navel is underneath the diaphragm, we want that to press forward as we inhale, because that's what a baby does. You see, baby pushes that stomach area. Now the stomach, of course, is to the left side, and the liver comes across, from the right to the left. So we mean that whole abdominal area right down to your belly button. A baby usually pushes that forward as it inhales, and then as it exhales, it draws the belly button in toward the spine. So what you want to do is do the same thing. So if you leave your hand above your diaphragm is the area that separates your lungs and your heart from the rest of the organs of the body, so they're not collapsing down on the other organs. If you place your hand somewhat in the center of your sternum, as a guide, you want to see your belly button move forward slightly and your chest kind of come down a little bit as you inhale. And then as you exhale, the stomach will draw in, and basically the chest will rise up just a tad. And that's more the proper way of breathing. If you could breathe like that, you will gain more energy into the body, and you'll create greater awareness, greater fullness, greater wholeness in your body. Then when you evacuate the air out of your body, think of the air like an arrow, the diaphragm like the bowstring of the rest of the bow, which is this, right? So this is your chest is sort of like that other side. Okay, so the bottom of the diaphragm is like the string that you're pulling back, and the top part of the diaphragm is like the bow, the wooden bow itself for your bow and arrow, and your breath is the arrow. The more you're able to breathe in this manner, the more relaxed you become. Plus, by placing the tongue to the roof of your mouth, the tip of the tongue, just behind your two front teeth, you create a full circuit of energy that where the chi is going up the spine and flowing over the back and coming through the central line and dropping down, but just beneath the navel by 3 finger widths beneath the navel. This is the second chakra, or sacral chakra. This is the storehouse for chi, ki, prana, organ, and your spirit energy. But you could move through the 3 segments, the 3 areas, what they call in Tai Chi the triple warmer. Triple warmer is from there. and then it reaches in here, and then it comes up a little higher. And they usually come through the third eye a lot. Pranic healers come through the third eye. Most of martial art energy comes through the third eye because you're using your clairvoyant ability well as your clairsentient ability through your heart and your solar plexus to feel your environment, but saving your energy, keeping yourself rooted through your sacral chakra. So just do that for a moment, and as I speak to you, I want you to relax. You'll bring the upper jaw in contact with the lower jaw through your teeth. So don't place the ridge edge of the teeth together. Just however your jaw comes together. In most cases, the lower jaw is a little bit back, and so that the teeth, the bottom row of teeth, are just behind the upper row of teeth, and that is sufficient. As you do that, you bring your shoulders down and let them relax on their own. Keep your head straight as much as you can. Kind of elongate your neck just a tad. Let the shoulders come down. And your head is nicely on over your shoulders, as we call square, over the shoulders. Now at this point, what you will feel is that from the center part of your back and up, you can straighten that out, and then that allows you to kind of readjust the pelvis area. Now, you're in a seated position, so you can't curl or tuck too much because you place a lot of weight, unbalanced weight, into your pelvis because you're in a seated position. If you were standing, you could pull the pelvis in or tuck it in and keep your knees slightly bent, but you're already seated. So all you need to do is keep your feet about shoulder width apart and just relax. Inhale. Without holding your breath at the top of the inhalation, just release it. Exhale. Don't hold it out at the end of the exhalation, just inhale. You will find your own rhythm. The rhythm for some people in the beginning is 3 seconds in, 3 seconds out. But it's actually 4 seconds in, 4 seconds out. 4 seconds in is a nice rhythmic balance, and it's kind of massaging the entire body. Goes up into your head and massages your head, scalp. Now, some people also go with inhaling to 6 and releasing to 6, or inhaling to 6 and releasing to 8. Inhaling to 6. Some schools, especially in the Zen and Buddhist temples, the breath is often held for about 4 seconds to 6 seconds. Then they exhale on 8 to 12. So you don't need to strain yourself. You just need to allow yourself to breathe what we call, naturally. You want to let yourself just relax into it. You don't want to strain yourself at all. It's not necessary. If you were straining yourself, you would feel slight dizziness. You don't need to do that. That slight dizziness means that you release some toxic energy, and it's probably in your bloodstream rolling around through your body. So you're going to release anyway. You might as well release so that it's more comfortable for you. So what I want you to be able to realize is that you can affect or impact, influence your immediate environment. So right now, just pay attention to how things feel around yourself. You do that by mentally scanning. You feel like you're doing it with your eyes, right? Because you're looking around. But in utmost reality, you're really sensing you through your entire body what things feel like on the right side of you, on the left side, extreme right, extreme left, behind you, in front of you, on diagonals, and above you and beneath you. You'll be able to do that. You'll be able to become sensitive whether you have stiffness in your arm or in your shoulder, and you can make adjustments. Some people just move the spine from right to left, swivel, because as you know, your shoulders and your wrists and your ankles, in most cases, you can create circular motions. On your neck, to some extent, circular motions. You could, move your pelvis around, the lower part of your body, in circular motions. You can do it to some extent with your knees. Just relax into this, though. The more you can relax into this, the better. Now, while you're doing that, it's 5:12 my time, 6:12 for you in Central Time, or 7:12 for you in Eastern, or 4:12 p.m. I want to utilize this piece of information. I had used it back on the 24th of February on my blog talk show. So I want to implement it right now. And I want you just to relax. It's called We Are Beyond the Beyond. And I'm going to read it with a sense of rhythm so it becomes a meditation for you. And then the second part of it takes you into a very short decree involving this at the same time. And I'll tell you when to insert your own name. A newer you is coming into your current being. And this is good, as it is pressing down the old you so that you see with eyes of spirit and soul as one. Just take a minute and let that energy kind of flow with you. Let this day and the days to come to be expansive and fruitful. You notice when I'm pausing on inhale, looking at the next sentence. Let your abundant nature prosper you in more ways than one as you witness the journey. Everything of divine nature is hearing and communicating with you. I'm inhaling. Now I'm going to exhale. I used to say dancing in the light of divine grace, and that phrase still holds and rings true, even though I was stating it as far back as the year 2000. Inhaling and exhaling. I'm going to take another full revolution of inhaling and exhaling. The Amen in capital letters, AMEN, is expressing and in full bloom, and the overflow is magnificent. We are all awakening and coming into our true being, moment to moment. And soon we shall feel the presence of ancestors, master spirit guides, and teachers all around us, but feel and see them in their light. This journey upon Mother Earth is beyond our dreams, and our dreams are our reality. I'm taking another fullness of breath in and out. Through divine power and by divine grace, I see and decree that we are all becoming our true selves, but we must continue to shield up and outward so as not to override into the spaces of others around us. I see and decree that we are embracing these new gifts which have been always there within us, for we are now remembering who we are. and we are growing in awareness. We are remembering to shed and let go, and accept, embrace, and receive. This sacred path that shall carry us beyond the ordinary into the extraordinary. So let us continue to explore our deeper beauty, explore our cellular nature that holds the keys of light and being free as the eyes in all of our chakras and all of the auric layers are opening so we can be revealed unto ourselves. Now, here is the short decree. After I say I, and before I say now affirm, I'm reading this sort of like as if I'm you, but I want you to hear the words and I want you to say your name. You could speak it quietly, low tone, or to yourself, or out loud if you like. We are beyond beyond, and here it goes. Just these decrees are right here with an affirmation. Are you ready? Here we go. I say your name. Now affirm and decree that I am in me is beyond the beyond as I am free to see. I affirm and decree there is more to see and I have always been the key to my own open door. The life of a deity, of the divine is birthing itself in and through me as I awaken to myself, and I am beyond the beyond, being made whole and complete. I affirm and decree that I am humble in your presence, meaning in the I am's presence, and humble with my presence as my ego is no longer in control, meaning that personal part of it. I see and decree that the more I evolve, the more unconditional love is being released from my heart, as this loving heart is divine and sheds light on anything that is not of the same frequency with the infinite power, divine grace, and blessing it to its highest good. Okay, there it is. And those shall it be for you. Just kind of go with the flow and relax. We're about 5:19 p.m. Mountain. Every time this show is aired, it's aired with unconditional love, compassion, and divine grace for all of you who get an opportunity to see it, witness it live. For those of you that get a chance to come back within the 30-day span to replay it here on Ustream, know that within about 30 minutes after each live video streaming program, the program is uploaded into my YouTube channel. My YouTube channel is located at www.youtube.com/user user /circle of grace one with no dashes in between the words or the number. Also, if you go to my other website, which is circleofgrace1.byregion.net, that's dot by BYREGION.net, circlegrace1.byregion.net. If you go throughout there, you could always go and click on my audio files. I have placed 3 audio files there. They're really short MP3 files, and these MP3 files were utilized on my good friend Ahmad Ali's um, blues broadcast that he does every Wednesday from the State University of Stony Brook's campus. radio show. And if I'm not mistaken, he goes on from, I think it's 8 a.m. Yes, 8 a.m. in the morning till 10 a.m. He's only on for 2 hours. And so he uses these 5 minute teaching spots that I've put together for him. Also, many of you know that I have five basic spiritual courses in PDF, and they sell for $27 each. You can get all five of them for $118. If you have a PayPal account, you would just PayPal me directly, and if you don't, I would just send you a PayPal invoice for the ones that you choose. Um, there are five right now. The key to life is numerology, which its subtitle is the shorthand of astrology. It's all about the numbers basically from 0 through 9, the master numbers from 00 to 99. It goes into the birth date number, the destiny number, the three minor lessons of the destiny number, which is governed by your birth month, birth day, and birth year, as well as the angle of destiny. And it shows you how to look at the three most important parts of a person's name, as well as some other particulars when you're looking at a name. Also, it has white light meditation and energetic shields, which is learning how to use white light around yourself, which is always present. It's not something that you're conjuring up, it actually is already present. Within the auric field, you're just calling it up through intention and then creating a shield with it for your further protection of unwarranted energies outside yourself, which could involve people who think negative, speak negative, and do negative things. People who are emotionally upset, mentally imbalanced around you, or just plain angry. All right, it helps to kind of cut down that kind of energy. Also, there is the art of manifesting your heart's desires through 10 fields of awareness and understanding how to utilize them so that you could manifest and materialize things that you desire from your heart into your own life. There's also understanding your dreams and some of the important elements of being able to interpret and analyze your own dreams, and to help you interpret and analyze the dreams of loved ones and friends or coworkers. And then the last one is Tarot Basics 1, 2, 3. Tarot Basics 1, 2, 3 involves three sections. Tarot Basic 1 is understanding the 56 cards of the 78 tarot deck. Most tarot decks are actually two decks in one. And the 56 cards with the four elements and how to interpret the cards. Aces through 10, and then the four court cards. Pages, knights, queens, and kings. And this can be applied to most tarot decks that are out there in the world. In fact, a lot of tarot decks that people are utilizing are based on the classical tarot system. And then the Tarot Basics 2 is how to interpret the major arcana cards. And then Tarot Basics 3 is how to use some basic layouts. I teach you in there how to utilize a yes and no spread, which is three cards, which is sometimes called a radio spread. For those of you that broadcast online or someone is interviewing you, you could use a radio spread. You can use a one card, a two card, or three card to complete that for yourself. Also, I take you into a five card spread, and then I take you into a seven card spread. And in the seven card spread, you can read each day of the week, or you can make comparisons between yourself and someone else, like a compatibility tarot spread. And then I introduce to you my own tarot spread. I don't hide anything, I'm very transparent. I introduce you to my tarot spread that I developed over the years, which is a 16 card spread, which takes you into project you a little bit into the past, the present, and the so-called future. It takes you into the four elements plus ethers or spirit. It also allows you to read many different angles. It also allows you to know the spine of the layout, the subject matter of the layout, the heart of the layout, and the summary of the layout. You can do the summary just with three cards, or how to utilize them in the layout itself. So, if you would care to know and would like to purchase any one of those five PDFs, they sell for $27. You just send me an email to iam.circleofgrace1 at gmail.com. That's iam.circleofgrace1 at gmail.com. Then I will send you an invoice that you will receive, and you may receive that invoice from PayPal from my Yahoo account, which is also iam.circlegrace1 at yahoo.com. So you get that invoice, and then there's a click button for view and pay, and you just pay in encrypted format. I don't see any of your data, and the minute the transaction goes through, you get your PDF in the email. If you like now, just four of them, you're paying $27 a piece. But if you pay for all five, I'll give you a break for a $17 discount, and you get it for $118 for all five of them. Hopefully, I'll be adding on some more. I wanted to target by next month, but I may just have one more ready for you. But eventually, you'll be able to get 10 or 11 PDF files for a special price. So I'm looking forward to put that information out, and I'm also planning to take some CD audios and put them together for you. I'm going to use some of my most popular shows, especially the ones that I'm doing right now that I started this year on the Age of Remembrance on Blog Talk Radio. So you'll be able to get those shows, two of them on a CD, for a very nice price. You don't have to worry about it. It's not about price uh, gouging. It's not about charging you a whole lot of money. It's all about making sure you can get this information. So, it is now 5:29, and we're going to be off at 5:45, another 26 minutes. So, what I would like to do for you is to bring you the more than popular one and only himself. He's already across the plains, but I'll bring you a little teaching here of this gentleman, the late Reverend Ike. And his teaching has always been one of allowing people to move into the presence of a greater awareness of who they are. And I tell you, this guy was very powerful, was kind of ahead of his time. And yes, he spoke to people in a certain way, but he also spoke to you in a way that you could comprehend his teachings. And all of his teachings were about raising yourself. Now, I just mentioned about impressing yourself, wanting to impress another person, but it's all about impressing yourself. And he has this teaching right here. He says impress yourself first. So, and his exercise for impressing yourself first is for you to look right into a mirror. And he says, in order to impress yourself, you look into the mirror, and this is what you say to yourself. He says, I want you to get in front of your mirror and talk to yourself. But before you do, make yourself look good. Notice how he does that. He said, make yourself look good so that you will enjoy looking at yourself. So that means all the women out there, he's talking about if you wear makeup, wear it. If you gotta stylize your hair a certain way, wear your favorite outfit that brings joy to you. Same with men. Wear your favorite outfit that brings joy to you, that causes you to feel relaxed. Wear something that allows you to feel very confident in yourself, to feel prosperous and abundant. allow you to feel more expansive, excited, more compassionate, more joyful. Now, as you do that, he says, I want you to write this on your heart. The first person that you need to impress, I'm going to repeat that again. The first person that you need to impress, that you need to make a favorable impression on, is yourself. So, are you willing to impress yourself? If you can impress yourself, then you become someone who first believe in yourself because you're creating more confidence in yourself. You're confiding the special truth inside of you. When you can confide in yourself, then you are allowing yourself to have the confidence, to have greater courage to be yourself. In other words, you have to convince yourself first. If you can convince yourself, which also then what boosts up your self-esteem, raises your personal energy, raises the energy in your auric field, gets you more excited about seeing, doing, being, and having. So he used to talk about be, do, and have. In other words, in order for you to be successful, he says you got to cause yourself to be someone. You got to take on the consciousness of something. Then you go and carry it out, which means you go forth and do it. And you do whatever it takes to get it done, which means you will spend the time in research. You will spend the time in study. You will spend the time speaking to other people. You will spend the time receiving information, the right information at the right time from people. And then you will have more of what you're seeking to have. But you will take on the consciousness first. You have to take on the consciousness first in order to feel that you can do it, in order to feel that you can have what you're talking about doing. And when you do this, you tear down these walls. See, he used to talk about it here. You tear down the walls of poverty consciousness, poverty thinking. You tear down the walls of doubt and fear. You tear down the walls of disillusionment and illusions. You tear down, you just tear down those walls of disbelief, negative attitude, negative outlooks. You tear it down. Do you know that there are a great deal of wealthy people in the world and they're not happy with what they have? So they're always seeking more. Now, the world has more and more and more. It has an abundance for everyone. So there's room for people to create these new worlds for themselves. Plenty of room. And in each moment of our lives, we are consciously and constantly creating and recreating. One person was speaking to me several weeks ago, and they were saying, how come I don't have this new job by now? I should have had this new job by now. There's many ways in getting this new job or setting up the vibration. You might go to your ancestors for help. You might go to your uh, deity guides for that help. You might go to other spirit guides for that help. You might go to other forces around you that are very positive to get that reaction, to put that energy out so that you get it. Then I had to make the person aware of the variables. What are variables? Variables are other people involved. And you have to push your energy field up higher past the naysayers. Mhm. You have to push your energy level up higher to get over those hurdles. You have to push your energy up higher to get over your disbelief. You have to get up over higher You have to get over self sabotage. You have to get to the point where you know that you already deserve it and you are what? Worthy. You're worthy to have it. And so you will create the atmosphere for worthiness because you will tell yourself in every moment, I am worth it. My whole life is worth it because I'm worth it. When you tell yourself that you are worth it, then all grace abounds to you freely because you're not concerned with what other people think or what other people feel or what other people think that you're supposed to think or feel or have or what they think you're supposed to be doing. That's why whatever I'm teaching here, you should question it. And it's all right for us to come to an agreement to disagree. It is all right for you to take what works for you and leave the rest behind. But you must first convince yourself. You must commit to convincing yourself. You must commit to being at the still point, the center of your being, for wellness to exist. So know that you are alive. As I always say at the end of my program, remember that divine grace is a blessing. The question is why? Because we are alive. You're not dead, you're alive. You're functioning in the age of remembrance. You're here to remember that you did it before. You see, do. In order to do something, you have to realize that you've done it before. You've done some aspect of it before. You just changed the program, how you chose to think about it. So that's what we want to do. We want to change our program. And with 7 minutes left, I want you to think about something that you want to change in your own life. Whether it's dropping out negative experiences, getting rid of negative people. See, we're in a 9 universal year. And that 9 added to this 10 makes this a solar kind of energy. It's about freeing yourself up. It's about being more confident in yourself, being more truthful to yourself. You know, many of us are carrying a lot of baggage. We want to get rid of that baggage. And sometimes that baggage comes in 5 limbs and a torso and a head. So sometimes it's people. It's people that have been like on your back a little too long. People that have been weighing you down with negative thinking and doubts and their own illusions and their own disillusionments and their lack of discernment. A lot of these things have been weighing you down. People singing the blues. I used to have a client, she's a little older than me, but she always used to say this. She said, I don't do the blues. She used to tell people around her all the time, from her coworkers to her friends, if they're going to come around her singing the blues, think, living in the past, singing about negativity, she had no time for them. She only sought to have the positive around her. She worked justly at having positive people in her life, to the fact that she changed her physical environment. Soon as she had a couple of raises on her job, she moved from one apartment to the next. And how she did it was, she said she wanted to be in a place where she became the caretaker of the place. And the person provided, check this out, the person provided, that owned the place, always provided the rent or the mortgage for it. All she had to do was watch it. And over the years, she had a good friend of hers at that time went to the Dominican Republic or Haiti or went to South America for a year. And he needed somebody to take care of his place. And he had made so much money that he paid the rent up for 6 months at a time. And he made, and it was a condominium. So what he did was, the owner, he went to the board of directors and said, look, I'm going to be out of town. I have to go out of town. I have a good friend that will come by and watch my apartment for me. In fact, I would like to have her move in, but I'm already covering the rent. So this person, he made it okay. Why? Because he was always on time with his rent. And he introduced his friend, brought her to a board meeting so that they could see her. They liked her so much that they said, yeah, she can move in because this apartment was so huge that it could use another person. So the things that she brought in, of course, was her clothes, and she did a sale, apartment sale, got rid of all of her things, and stayed in his place. You know what happened? Because he was such a good tenant, an owner of he owned the condominium. Since he was already in it, she is still in it, and he has in essence moved on, and they don't even care if she's there. Why? Because everything was taken care of. She didn't have to worry about anything. And now she's retired 5 years already since I've been here in New Mexico. She's retired 5 years already. She is still at that location. He is traveling the world. And the rent, every time he comes back, he just comes back in time to do what? To pay 6 more months. That's all he does. He comes back in time, he pays 6 more months of rent so that she could be there. And he's someplace else. All over the country, all over the world. So when we are thinking about things that we desire to have, it can happen. We have to get past our disbelief, our doubts, our illusions about what we think can't happen or never will happen. We have to break that mold. When we break that mold, when we crack that mold, a brand new mold can be put in place. That's all that this man was talking about. Change your thoughts. If you could change your thoughts, you could change who you are. You can change your environment. He was in essence saying the same thing. He came to people. Put it this way: he was born into a poor life, a family that didn't have much. His father was a minister. His mother was a school teacher. He didn't have much. He would call it dirt poor, and they would send him to school, and he didn't have much. But deep down inside, he knew he was supposed to be a whole lot more. He knew that. And he himself became a minister. And then he fell in love with a new way of thinking. And it was a part of the new thought. But he mixed a little of the new thought with the old thought. In other words, he explained how things had to be. He explained that, the devil didn't exist. He explained all these things. He came into a community of people in New York City, up in what they call the area of Washington Heights and Harlem, and changed people's lives. Got them to break the mold. Got them to make a difference in their own lives. We can make a difference in our own lives if we so choose. We could have the health, joy, and prosperity by just changing our attitude on life, attitude about ourselves. Dr. Michael Beckwith says it like this: if you could change your attitude, you'll change your altitude. If you change your attitude, you'll change your altitude. In other words, you'll raise yourself up, you'll get even higher. You'll step into a new reality because you're creating it as you go along, moment to moment. But you are trusting the divine source is on the inside and not on the outside. So when you do that, you change the way you think, and everything around you has to change. New friends will come into your life. New spiritual family members will be in your life. Even new spiritual children will be a part of your life. Everything will change. You'll notice you'll have more free time. You'll notice that even when it's a quote unquote bad day, when the weather is slow and cold and rainy and sleety. Sleety, that's not even a word. But when it's like that, your life on the inside of you is better because you're in that still point of consciousness. You're connecting to the divine source inside of yourself. And therefore, you begin to see what the divine source sees through your eyes. You will become that higher self, It won't be like this oversoul energy. It will be down on the inside of you, looking out through your eyes. You will begin to see from the perspective of your higher self, from the perspective we know as your soul, your divine, intelligent nature will be there. You'll be living that truth. But know that as you begin to live that truth, some of the regulars that aren't on the same page with you, they're going to melt away. They're going to be cut away. Some relationships you won't be able to be in because things have to change. Some family members will kind of fall off. You can try to save them, but it's best that you save yourself first and let yourself become a living example. Then they can see the steps that they may have to make, and then they can help change their life. You can always leave your door open to them. You don't have to cut them off unless they're really living a hectic life, and then you don't need that hectic life to be overshadowing your new life. So I'm going to close this program out. I want to thank you for being supportive and watching this show, whoever's in my audience here. And sometimes I have a small crowd, an even smaller crowd, but I'm not here to be on stage. I'm here to share what I've learned over the years, the many years, a 42-year path. And I'm constantly changing, constantly evolving as well. So I come here to share this. If you're here on Wednesdays on Blog Talk Radio, tune into www dot blog blog talk talk radio radio /circle of grace one, and you will tune in to Circle of Grace 1 in the Age of Remembrance. I'm on every Wednesday at um, 4 p.m. to 4:30 p.m. every Wednesday at 4 p.m. to 4:30 p.m. Mountain Standard Time, which is 6 p.m. Eastern, 5 p.m. Central, 3 p.m. Pacific Standard Time, with a 30-minute show, a little under 30-minute show, and I have a particular topic that I will talk about. And it's all about, some of it's been the power of your words and the energy behind your words, and how that can change your total outlook on life and your total environment. So there's a lot of things that I bring up there. I may talk numerology, I may talk about affirmations, prayers and decrees, colors, crystals, you name it. I bring up what I can and share that with you. And that's every Wednesday on Blog Talk Radio channel that I have called The Age of Remembrance, subtitled Circle Grace 1 in the Age of Remembrance. You can always go there within 30 days and hear that message. My advice to you is, when you listen to it, is download the show. You can download my shows for free. I don't care. I want you to get the information. After 30 days, they kind of drop it off the server because there's so many people saving shows. Well, you should get the show. And here, every Thursday, usually at 5 p.m., but I came on earlier because I have another commitment to go to online. Sometimes, like I said, I like to improve myself. So I'm going to listen to some Neil Donald Walsh in about 15 minutes or less. He has a nice webinar coming on. For those of you who watch Oprah every Sunday, she's going to have a slice there of Dr. Michael Beckwith on. And if you can listen to the OWN network, Channel 55 for most of us on cable, do that on Sunday. Usually comes on about 10 a.m. or 9 a.m., but I think 10 a.m. is the time that you want to catch it. And you could watch Dr. Michael Beckwith on her show. He has some very prominent information. Oprah's Super Soul Sundays are out of this world. Her master classes that she has on later in the day are out of this world, and you should really listen to it. There's an opportunity to hear all of this information in one spot, uh, and gather all that information and put it into motion for yourself. Well, I'm here next Thursday at about 5 p.m. our original time, streaming live here at ustream.tv /channel /circle dash of dash grace dash one. Okay, and that'll bring you right here for a live video streaming broadcast with myself, Brother Francis E. Revels-Bey. If you want to call me, I have a Skype number, which is 505-349-4722. I have another number, it's like a magic jack, also connected to my um, computer, and that is my meditation and decree request line that has a 2 minute decree on it that you'll hear first. And that number you can call 24/7 and listen to the decree whenever you want to. Is 505 717 4722. So 505-717-4722. You can listen to an all-purpose decree that lasts about 2 minutes. Then follow my verbal instructions to leave me a message, or just call me on my Skype number at 505-349-4722. Leave a message that way as well. You can email me at iam.circleofgrace1@yahoo.com or iam.circlegrace1@gmail.com. You can listen to this show about 30 to 40 minutes later or an hour later at www.youtube.com/user without any dashes now, circle of grace with the number one at the end. Until next time, remember that divine grace is a blessing as we are alive and well in the age of remembrance. Thank you so much. See you real soon.